Welcome to part 2 of my video entitled Shitbags and Satanism. Now to start this, we will continue on our discussion about Tom Eric Raspotnik with a very personal story that I have that few really understand. There was someone I knew once, a girl that many people knew by the name of Julie Maybe. She was beloved by many inside our satanic community as not only a sister but a close friend, and sometimes by some people as more than that. I can personally attest to this story because I was there. Now, at a certain point in my life, I was together with this woman. When I say together, I mean we lived in the same place, and we were supposed to be a couple. During this time also, unfortunately, Julie Maybe was diagnosed with cancer. I was there not only to try and help her personally, but because of the whole L word thing. During this time, there was an unfortunate situation which revolved around Mr. Raspotnik. Because while I was there trying to help her, not only by doing chores around the house and assisting her with her young granddaughter and trying to help keep things in the house calm, but by also trying to speak to people online and get more people involved in what was being done. Unfortunately, Mr. Raspotnik decided that Julie was his, not mine. So, because he wanted her so bad, he started blowing up her phone every day. In message, in phone call, and text. I had to put up with this almost 7 to 10 hours out of each day. During these conversations, I came to find out that Mr. Raspotnik told her that I was her enemy, the person that was there trying to help her. He turned her completely against me by manipulating her mind, to the point at which she turned on me and decided that he was her boyfriend, at which point I picked my shit up and left the house without another word about it, because I don't put up with shit like that. I don't get cheated on anymore. I don't have the time for it. So I left, and left her to be with him. Within a month, that relationship had exploded because, well, for one, as Julie put it to me, by the time he came to her house in his white Chimo van, she saw how nasty he looked, didn't really want anything to do with him. And on top of that, she started to realize he was lying to her and manipulating her. But by that time, I was gone. They tried to make it work. Didn't last very long. A lot of people know that because it was splashed all over the internet. Once Tom realized he wasn't going to get anything from her body, he started defaming her too. Not but a few months later, I went back to visit her because she was complaining about magic that he had done against her that was affecting not only her, but her 19-year-old daughter and her 2.5-year-old granddaughter inside their home. I went and found horrible things left energetically inside that house. I worked with her to remove them. I also worked to battle him off myself. However, I could not be allowed to spend all my days focusing on two people who refuse to get away from one another. So at some point I had to separate myself from it. During my journey across country and back, I actually advised her on a new person that she had met that she wanted to be with. This person, she claimed, that finally made her happy in the way she hadn't felt in forever. And I advised her to be with that person. Do what makes you happy. Don't think about how I feel about it. Don't think about how Tom feels about it. Think about what you want for your life. And she did. And she went to that person. After the doctors had cleared her and said her body was free of cancer completely, she went to go be with this person. Tom, however, could not accept that she was going to be happy and he wasn't involved. I was told more than once from more than one source that he would not stop throwing magic at her, trying to harm her. Now, I will tell you how this ended, and you can decide for yourself whether or not you believe in magic. This woman was declared completely free of cancer by her doctors. She went to another state, and in less than a month, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, cancer sprung up all over her body, everywhere. Not too long after that, she died. Just what he wanted, to remove somebody that wouldn't be with him. Now, do you believe in magic? I don't know. I know I do. And I know what happens when rotten magic is launched at people without provocation. I know what happens when people won't stop. So, whether or not you believe that this man solely is responsible for her death, I know some people that do. And one of them is her daughter. But we're going to move on. I think I've said enough about Mr. Respotnik and how rotten he is. We're going to move on to some people that he knows. Some people that are involved in his life, but still out doing their own stupid things. The next person on our list is a woman by the name of Cindy Leanna Fleming. But you don't know her that way, most of you. You know her by this scream name, Leonon City, Sacramento City. She's got long red hair, starting to get old. And she's not a really smart person either. According to what they say online about her, she claims lineage to ancient bloodlines, just like the Brotherhood does, and claims sect loyalty that they won't confirm she's even involved in. She uses this as a defense, not only for herself, but Tom too, saying that because they're together and they work on all these things, that they're all appropriate no matter what they do. Apparently this woman has groupie habits. Now when I say groupie habits, I think those who deal in the metal world know what I'm talking about. She finds a man in power that controls something, and she wants that control and power for herself, but she'll never take it from them. So instead she decides it's best to stand next to them. What's the easiest way to do that? Well, that brings us to our next point. Apparently, she has a habit of trying to sleep her way to the top. Now, this is obvious with Tom, because Tom, who apparently doesn't look that good and uses dating services even when he's with somebody to try and find girlfriends, obviously knows that he's not much to look at. So when someone with long red hair that looked halfway decent for her age decided to be Tom's girlfriend, I'm sure he was ecstatic, because that was probably the best thing he had seen in a long time. And now she stands right beside him, and while she's there, apparently, as they drive around together in his white van delivering things, she uses the fact that she looks better than him and she's a more calm and pleasant person on average to lure people in to Tom so that he can then manipulate them. Now, me personally, I've only ever had one conversation with this female. It was after the last video that myself and a brother of mine made attacking these people for how wrong they are. She decided that because Tom wouldn't stand up for himself and the other person mentioned wouldn't step up for themselves, that it was her responsibility to try and stop what I was doing. So during our conversation, she spent the majority of the time trying to talk me out of what I know, trying to excuse away Tom's behavior, trying to say that it was okay and allowable because of who Tom was, and actually admitting that she assists him in everything she does. So that means every time Tom's throwing rotten magic at people, she's joining him. These are two people now who are on a list of vile mages and people that really don't deserve leadership at all. Now, she did do the same thing to me. She did reference her bloodline and her sect of the ancient dragon and all this crap she tried to use against me to try and make me afraid. Like they were going to send some council of mages to destroy me if I didn't listen to her. By the end of this conversation, the result was she blocked me because she couldn't change me. As soon as she realized I wasn't going to hear her bullshit, she was gone, and I was blocked. And there was not another word from her after that. At least, not yet. Now, aside from this person, I have one more that I'm going to speak about in this video. And you know him too. His name is Robert Fraze. He's got a bunch of AKAs. But the most common one that he adds to his name is the title Pope. This man, this man just brings it to a whole new level. Apparently, according to what's said online, this man has straight ripped off the Red Cross by making false donations and saying that he was donating to the Red Cross when instead he was just using the money. The Red Cross has their own website that you can donate to if you want to help people. You don't have to go through a third party. Apparently, according to reports from some of his neighbors, this man may extend his rottenness to forms of disgusting things like bestiality. I don't know this for sure, but it is on a ripoff report. And apparently the person who wrote it was a neighbor behind him. So you can read that for yourself and decide whether or not that's true. I don't understand why anyone who would call themselves a Satanist would use a Christian title to try and garner respect. However, this is his most common title, Pope Robert Fraze. Actually, there's his new profile, which is King Pope Robert Fraze. And this is just silly to me. Why would you try to mesh Christianity and Satanism into one thing to garner respect from people? That's just stupid. He's in a rap group, I guess. I don't listen to the music. I wouldn't even bother. But he uses his religious position to constantly advertise for his rap group so that they can gain popularity. Now, whether or not it's satanic rap, your business and your faith are two different things. You don't use one to uplift the other. As far as my personal experience with Mr. Fraze, I know some serious facts about this boy. As Tom is bitch made, Pope is his bitch boy. Because as long as I've known him, every time Tom has a problem, Pope is the first one to jump up and go, oh yeah, Tom's right, Tom's right, Tom's right. He's been doing this forever, and why? Why would you do this if you're in two different sects of faith? Easiest reason to explain that, for the longest time, Tom was the owner of Flagship Media. Pope had a radio show on there. If he would have argued with Tom, just might have lost his radio show. So to keep his popularity in his show, he lied to people about faith. Come on, Pope. Are you really that stupid? You think we don't see it? Just like Tom's girlfriend, Miss Leanne, this one defends Tom to no extent, even when the way that they believe, that they tell people they believe, is completely different in that area. He will still stand up and support Tom first. I already explained why. He plays the nice guy when he talks to you personally. Acts like he has nothing to do with what's going on. Then as soon as he's done, he'll go back to talking shit behind your back. I know this because he's done it to me personally, in his group, amongst his friends, and anywhere else he can find to do this. But we have spoken on the phone, and during those conversations, he claimed that he was never involved, and none of this pertained to him personally, and he didn't understand why I was bringing his name up. Now, recently, apparently, he's changed churches. Now, I don't know how your faith is so interchangeable. He may have been thrown out, for all I know. I'm not a member. I don't know what happens inside the churches, because I don't ascribe to a sect. He also was personally challenged by me. His response to this was two things. One, that he would shoot me while I wasn't paying attention. And two, that he was going to instate gang violence on me. Now, that's about as weak as you could get, Pope. I'm going to get off everybody else for a moment, and we're going to continue with part 3 of this video, which discusses a little more about me personally.